Imagine a hospital without medicine, just using energy. Today, I have someone on my show. Her name is Britta Stalling, and you are going to love her energy. I just connected with her so well because her energy is so positive, so beautiful. It's like vital chi comes right out of her when she explains what she's passionate about. And what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about what we learned the least in Chinese medicine school, Qigong. I love Qigong. And so we're going to talk about the powerful healing benefits of Qigong and how this is taking the world over with Qigong, even in hospital. Are you ready for this one? You are going to love Britta just like I did. Let's go. This is the first time I have a guest on the AcuPro Show who is going to talk to us about Qigong. I love Qigong and I'm excited about this. And we're going to talk about a lot of other things. But first of all, welcome to the AcuPro Show, Britta.
Thank you so much, Clara. That's the most enthusiastic introduction I've ever experienced. So I'm very excited to meet you today and be a contribution to your audience to have new insights, learn something, and be inspired.
Holy. And I love your energy. You have great energy. That must be coming from the Qigong. But Britta was born in Germany. So, like me, English is not her first language. I love that. And she lives in Cyprus. If you don't know where Cyprus is, it's an island in the Mediterranean Sea. And she also lived in South Africa. She's traveled the world. She was in the United States. She has a big story. But I would love for you first to tell us a little bit more about who you are, what you do that is connected to Chinese medicine, and how you got into Qigong.
I have quite a patchwork background. So, in terms of my profession, I have an apprenticeship in tourism. I was a flight attendant. I studied business administration. I founded a company related to HR consultancy and then moved on to co-creating a leadership organization where we would offer personal leadership trainings for your own personal growth and well-being, but also if you would lead teams. And why do I share that? Because when we were running this organization, I had a colleague in the Netherlands who learned about Qigong. And she then gave me a call and said, Britta, I just had this amazing workshop. And I want you to try this because has so much to do with our leadership trainings. And I was like, what is it? And she was like, Qigong, what is that? So she was so excited. And then I signed up for the newsletter from that organization. And whenever they offered the training, I was giving trainings myself. So never a match actually for 2 years. And then 1 month before I moved to South Africa, there was this one opening. On a Sunday, they offered a one-day workshop. I told my husband, okay, now I have to book it because otherwise when we're in Cape Town, I've never had the chance. So I booked myself in. I think we were 25 people, no experience before. I didn't really know what it is. At the end of the workshop, I got a CD and the trainer waved me goodbye and said, oh, Britta, maybe one day you bring this to South Africa. And I went like, what does she know what I don't know? Because I didn't even know whether I would practice it. I had only this one day and now the CD, and it's like a 20 minutes, 30 minutes routine. So I had no clue. And up until then, I also didn't really manage to practice something I learned in a workshop like meditation or yoga by myself at home. I would always go back to the meditation center or to yoga class, or I'm quite a sportive person, so it's not about that, but I didn't really have the, let's say, routine to integrate it into my daily life activities. To my surprise, when I arrived in Cape Town, at that time we had CD players, so no, nothing on the internet. I could not listen to your show or whatever, no information. I didn't have a book, only the CD. And I practiced. It was really interesting. Something pulled me to practice. And then I noticed the benefits pretty fast. And then I got really curious and I started to dive in, became a teacher to start sharing also in South Africa and Germany. And then very soon invited Zhineng Qi Gong masters to my hometown. in Germany, as well as to Cape Town, and partnered up with one of them, where we are co-creating actually an educational program where we train people in Qigong and Qi therapy, consciousness and Qi medicine to become a health and well-being coach based on this methodology. So yeah, it's an amazing journey, actually. I didn't think that I would be now sitting together with you and share this story to people listening to your podcast. So it's a very rewarding journey, actually, if I look back. Yeah.
And that's exactly it. I think everybody's journey is different and path is different, but it's literally written for you. The universe send you that, and then you were moving away and you're like, this is my chance. I'm just going to go. And you were compelling to continue and you really, really enjoyed it. And then the rest, like you said, is just history. So I think this is a lot of the way we all get into what we do. And eventually you're so passionate that you want to spread the word all over the world. When I went to TCM school a long time ago, I graduated in 2003 and I did a 5-year program, a doctorate program in Chinese medicine. And when we did our 5 years, the first year we had weekly Tai Chi. And I loved it. I knew all about Tai Chi. I've seen people doing it in the park. It was something that I really enjoy learning. So I absolutely love it. And then the second year, we had weekly Qigong. And the first day, I was like, I don't like this at all. I don't like this. This thing is just, I like Tai Chi. I like the flow of Tai Chi. This was way too slow for me. And I have to give you a background. I was in the fitness industry for 15 years. I was teaching aerobics. I was teaching hip hop dancing. I was really active with friends. We would go hiking and kayaking. We were very active. And because I was in my 30s, I hadn't learned yet that you need to also balance yin and yang. I was doing a lot of yang activity, but no yin activity, no meditation, I wasn't doing yoga. I wasn't doing Qigong, of course. So to me, that was too slow. It wasn't moving. It was just breathing at first. And I was like, what is this thing? I miss Tai Chi. I want to go back to last year. 3 weeks into it, I remember during the session, everything changed. In one instant, I felt warmth all over my body. I felt calm. I felt so good. And suddenly, I fell in love with Qigong. And Tai Chi, I didn't care anymore. I was like, no, Qigong, this is it. This is it. I love how it makes me feel, how I feel like I have this energetic Qi, I guess, that is really connecting between my body, my environment. I really felt my energetic body for the first time ever. While with Tai Chi, it felt more like some nice exercise. Qigong made me actually connect to Qi and to my ability to connect to the world around me. So I absolutely fell in love with it. Before we started, you asked me, so do you practice Qigong on a regular basis? I don't think I do enough of it. It's not a daily routine. It's not part of my routine, but I do practice it. Sometimes I feel like I miss it. So I'll do weeks and weeks, and then I'll go on holiday, and then I'll lose the momentum, come back, won't do it for a while. And then suddenly I crave it again and I'll do it. So it's quite interesting, my journey with Qigong. I don't know a lot about it. I just literally practiced what I was taught in school. And I have done a few little Qigong sessions with some patients that I feel would need it. I know you do Zhineng Qi Gong, and so there's so many kind of Qigong. So tell me about what's different about Zhineng Qi Gong versus other Qigong.
Yes, that's a really great question. And thank you for sharing your journey so far and also your enthusiasm about it. So, Zhineng Qi Gong was developed by Professor Dr. Pang Ming in the last century, the 70s, more or less. And he is trained as a doctor in Western medicine and TCM medicine. And he had his doctor's practice in Beijing, treating patients with either one methodology, whatever, suited in that specific situation best. He is also a Tai Chi and Qigong practitioner since his early life because he was very ill as a boy and neither Western medicine nor TCM medicine could help him. So the parents brought him to a Qigong master and he started to heal. And the Qigong master then also saw his potential as a human being and his skills and abilities. So he was actually training him already at a young age. Apparently, he continued to practice Qigong and Tai Chi and was trained by in total 30 different Qigong masters before he developed Zhineng Qi Gong. And the quest for developing Zhineng Qi Gong came out of his experience as a doctor, where he found the limitations of medical treatments based on Western or TCM medicine. And he then went deep inside with the intention to create a Qigong form, which is, first of all, easy to learn, which is joyful, so that people would, continue to practice them. And at the same time, highly effective, because if you're confronted with a diagnosis, with an illness, maybe even a life-threatening illness, then often you don't really have a lot of time. And he put all his knowledge together. So the medical knowledge, TCM, Tai Chi, Qigong, traditional Qigong, and then also Buddhism, Confucianism, so all these different philosophies, and created Zhineng Qi Gong. Zhineng Qi Gong is quite a modern Qigong form, because a lot of other traditional Qigong forms were passed on either the family tree or selected students, like Dr. Pang was a selected student himself, because a Qigong master would see the potential. Or if a student wanted to learn Qigong, then he needed to apply with a master and then maybe clean the house 2 to 3 years or work in the garden or whatever until really he or she could learn something. So Dr. Pang broke with these traditions, and because he said actually Qigong should be accessible and available for whole humanity, not only for selected people. And it should really be created in a way so it supports our health holistically, so on a mental, emotional, and physical level. And then once we are regaining our health, we can also be supported to, let's say, ignite the inner wisdom from inside to live our full potential and really become the person we would like to be in this world, and become also a leader for our own life. And really start to understand we are in charge of our life. We have the beauty of being responsible for our life. And for some people, this might sound like, wow, I rather like to give my life into the hand of beautiful TCM rockstar Clara, and she can, help me for sure. And then Clara goes like, yes, of course I can help you, but what do you think about also being in charge for your life and take control back so that you are really sure you can actually help yourself? And that was actually the wish of Dr. Pan Ming for humanity. And so the practice is quite simple. Some Qigong forms are more complex. Some Qigong forms are considering yin and yang or the meridians. And he created a Qigong form which is based on the Hunyan Qi of the universe, so that it naturally, when we absorb more Qi into our body, the Qi will actually then go to the places in the body where it's needed to release blockages. And also we are acquiring the ability to exchange Qi. You also spoke about, you were more alert or aware of the Qi exchange between you and nature or the space you are surrounded by. And this particular Qigong form helps and supports, improves actually the quality of Qi exchange between your own life force Qi and the Qi of nature, and enhances this exchange so that the transformation then can take place on the mental, emotional, and physical level. So it's very holistic. And the beauty actually is you do not need to study so much. So I know practitioners who have very little knowledge about the theory. I mean, over the last 20 years, I actually then started to read a lot of books, and now a lot of things are available online. And I have several Zhineng Qi Gong masters I was fortunate enough to learn from. Each year I would travel to China, to go deeper. And I'm still a student, I'm still learning. But I also know quite a lot of practitioners who do not read the books, who do not study in depth the theory, but yet they benefit, and yet they start the healing journey. So the practice in itself is so powerful that it can really help you to recover from different situations you might be confronted with regards to your health and well-being. I should also share that Dr. Pang Ming then founded the Huaxa Zhineng Qi Gong Center in China, close to Beijing, which in the West we know as the Medicine-less Hospital. And that is quite an achievement. So I don't know of any other Qigong form where this happened. Zhi Neng Qi Gong is also officially recognized by the Chinese government sports bureau as the most effective one. And in that time, when he started to establish this center close to Beijing, that was then in the 1890s, he welcomed not only hundreds of people, but thousands of people who actually came with diverse kind of illnesses and diagnoses and turned their life around to become a student of Zhineng Qi Gong. So would learn the methods, the tools, but also would receive Qi treatments by high-level Zhineng Qi Gong masters and teachers. So the combination then of one's own practice and be in an environment where, other people also started to regain their health and well-being really supported many of them to recover.
Wow, that's a lot to unpack. Thank you for sharing. I love the story and how it came about, specifically the Zhineng Qi Gong. Now, you went already where I want to ask you so many questions on this, which is the center that has no medicine or medicine-less hospital in China, which means that it's all energetic medicine, right? It's Qigong medicine applied to help patients that are struggling with their health. Is there any other centers like this anywhere in the world, or is there just the one in China? That's my first question.
Great. It's a beautiful question. So actually, the large center close to Beijing closed in 2001, but there are little centers now in China which still exist. And actually, there's one center in Xi'an where they have in a smaller portion the same idea. So they have three centers in one: a research center, a healing center, and a center where they teach teachers. So yes, it exists in China. Other places, I would like to say that the work continues to live on through the Wu Qi therapy program, because Master Yuantong Liu, who is a direct student of Dr. Pang Ming, he was working in the medicine-less hospital for 10 years, and not so many Zhineng Qi Gong masters actually in China have been there for such a long time. So he has in-depth experiences of guiding people to regain their health based on Qi therapy and Qigong medicine and their own practice. And since 2015, we have partnered up and we are training now people around the world. So we really attract internationally people from around the world. And they have started to build like little centers. Like in Australia, we have a very successful woman who's really helping people to regain their health. In Belgium, in the Netherlands, in Austria, in the US, in Canada, it's starting, different places in Europe, in South Africa. So yeah, it's like little centers.
A lot of people know that I have 3 books. However, many don't that I also offer continuing education online courses. This is actually how I started AcuPro Academy, to support new practitioners. You can choose from TCM treatment for common mental disorders, fertility, pregnancy, thyroid disorders, but also specific ones like scalp acupuncture or cosmetic acupuncture online course. All these are pre-recorded, so you can watch them on your own time. And since you have access to them forever, you can revisit the information anytime you need. You will receive a certificate with your name on it after you pass a multiple choice quiz. And if you're truly not satisfied with any of my online courses, I offer a 7-day money-back guarantee, as I stand behind my products and truly, truly want you to benefit from them. So go check them out on my website, acuproacademy.com, and click the TCM course tab on the menu bar, or check out the link in the show notes below.
I'm excited about this. This is very exciting. When you train people and they open those centers, could an acupuncturist who has already a practice, who's doing great, who knows the TCM perspective, take the program, learn this really amazing Zhineng Qi Gong, and apply it on a daily basis with patients in their practice? Instead of having to open something different, they can just basically apply it to patients. So my question is, how long does it take for, let's say, a practitioner, because I have a lot of practitioners that listen to the show, how long would it take for a practitioner to feel confident enough to utilize the method, the Zhineng Qi Gong, in their practice?
Great question again. So first of all, yes, we do already have TCM therapists and TCM doctors in our program, among other doctors with other specialties. And yes, they do integrate the skills, abilities, methods in their practice. Work with patients with acupuncture or Qigong massage or prescribing herbs. And in addition, have conversations and teaching them maybe small practices, which they've learned in the Zhineng Qi therapy program, or giving them Qi treatment. So it's really depending on the situation of the patient. In fact, we are actually partnering up with 2 TCM therapists in 2025, so this year, where we are going to do 8 days holistic health retreat with Qi therapy and helping their patients to actually recover from cancer. And we want to create a research project based on that joint venture work together. The idea for this project actually came from them. So they are very, very confident and excited about Qi medicine, consciousness medicine. Obviously, when you are joining the Zhineng Qi therapy program, what happens is that first we do the practice for ourselves. We give each other treatments. So by experiencing the benefits from our own practice and giving each other treatments, then obviously the trust and confidence rises up. And then also part of the program is that we invite our participants to give treatments to clients, family members, friends, and write a journal about it to really reflect on the benefits the person or the client then experienced. So what normally happens is after we have 2 on-site modules, and the first on-site module we call foundation module. It's a 2 weeks training on Cyprus. And Master Liu's flying in from China. And a lot of our friends, actually, especially those who are working already in the field, immediately afterwards start to give treatments. Very successful. So then when they complete the program with the next on-site module, which we call certification and completion module, again, the confidence level rises because the way we set this up is that Master Liu's continue to teach and train practices, method, skills, abilities. I just actually shared the results of the October retreat with a group today. 94% of the symptoms which were reported were drastically improved and 6% stayed the same. So 94% is quite a high success rate. So we have actually people also with dramatic health changes, like the tumor would be disappearing. Like we had in October, we had one woman with an eye tumor, and the scan afterwards showed it was gone. And another woman with a tumor in her abdominal area also disappeared completely. We had a man with Parkinson's symptoms. So he had to actually hold something to walk, and sitting up was very difficult. He came actually from the US. And at the end of the 10 days, he was running. So he was not needing to hold himself while walking. And he could also easily sit down and stand up by himself. His wife came with him to this retreat to help him in the beginning, but then each day, she needed to help him less and less.
Wow, that is very powerful. I mean, specifically with Parkinson, you come in with your walker and suddenly you're walking without it and running around the tumor, all this. Now, how long did it take? How many days is the retreat that it makes such a quick, powerful change?
We actually run 5 days retreat also together with Master Liu. We call them holistic health retreats, and certified Zhineng Qi therapists are often involved. We had a couple of them in the Netherlands, Austria, Germany, and in the US the last couple of weeks. And then we have this 10 days retreat, which is a bit more intensive, which is in Austria, for example, happening now in 2025 in Austria in October. We actually have that once a year, because once a year we are certifying Zhineng Qi therapists, and it's part of the program, but giving also people then a chance to, be benefiting from it. That's quite unique. I don't know from any other Qigong form or Qi medicine around. I haven't heard about it yet, that an educational system offers this opportunity. Obviously then, because you asked earlier about the confidence and trust, it rises. Year by year, we are getting more and more confident.
This is very exciting, first of all, because the powerful healing outcome just is blowing me away, which I think is fantastic. And I love that you go to a little bit different place. Obviously, you're in Cyprus, which is sunny and nice. I'd love to go there. I was in Austria last year, actually teaching a group of doctors on Chinese medicine, specifically for gynecology. Where are you guys doing the training in Austria? Which place?
This year it will be in Corinthia. So
Yes.
that's Klagenfurt area, more to the Wörthersee. Yeah.
Yes.
Feeling.
That's where I was. I was on the Worcestershire Lake. Yes, I was right
Wow.
on the lake. It was beautiful. It's such a beautiful lake. That's where I went to teach.
Oh, amazing. I'm happy for you.
Oh, Austria was such a beautiful place. I had never been before. We went hiking. My husband was like, I could live here. It's just so beautiful. And I'm from the
It
French
really is.
Alps, so I love mountains, but this was fantastic. I had such a good trip. So thank you for explaining all this, for sharing those stories that are just very powerful. As acupuncturists, we're doing better and better because so much research has been done now all over the world on acupuncture, the benefit of acupuncture. Most, not everywhere, but in Canada and a lot of the places in the States and a lot of places in the world, when we practice, we are licensed, we are recognized by the government, insurance covers the patient. So we know it works, we know it's amazing. When it comes to Qigong and Zhineng Qi Gong or any Qi energy therapy, do you see a lot of research on it? And how do you share this information with conventional Western medicine, who always has a little bit of a harder time with anything that is Qi therapy or that is energy medicine?
I think it's really like a pioneering work still, to be accepted or let's say recognized. And what I witnessed in the last years is that, for example, people overcoming health challenges where the Western medicine doesn't offer any cure, and they really embarked on a intensive own practice routine. So because, Dr. Paming says that if you have a chronic disease, let's take Parkinson or MS, you are invited to actually practice 3 to 4 hours a day. And I've witnessed people in Germany overcoming Parkinson, MS, also ALS with such an intensive daily training, 3 to 4 hours. But also when then they go back to their doctors, and I know especially one story where this particular person healed himself from sincere MS symptoms. And 1 year later, after his intensive training, went back to the neurologist for the yearly scan. And MS was not in his body anymore. The response was, I'm happy for you, but I cannot share it in my hospital with colleagues because they will not accept it. So please, continue what you're doing right now, but don't expect me to make a big buzz out of it. So I think it's gradually changing because I also know, for example, in Germany, there are some Qigong teachers working directly in hospitals. Also in Argentina, there's a Zhineng Qi Gong community working directly in hospitals. So it's on the rise. So more and more doctors open up to, let's say, the integrative way of medicine. And that's actually also something Dr. Pang Ming is predicting, that we are moving more and more into integrative medicine. So that acupuncture, the treatments, for example, I'm also hearing that certain energy work in Israel, there was a clinic who would, before an operation, would allow either acupuncturist or Reiki healing, Qi consciousness healing, to help the patient to be more trusting the operation and be more relaxed. And then after the operation, also give treatments so that the recovery process is faster. So, yeah, my assumption is that this will be on the rise. And up until then, I think your slogan is also like, help one patient at a time. And personally, I believe in one human being at a time, somebody who's open to try this out and then making his own, let's say, evidence based on his or her own experience, improving the health and well-being. That is already a great achievement. And we are collecting these kind of healing stories on a project we call Zhineng Qi Gong Healing Stories. And we have already captured around 30 stories, and we want to actually move on to 100 plus very soon. And that will, I think, bring hope to people. And then maybe in 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, it will be more accepted. Once we are actually really proving with this research project I just shared before, this is happening this year. We probably do more in the future. There's a lot of research done in China but maybe not so accepted yet in the West because they have different standards. So it's always a little bit tricky. In the UK, there's also one research project this year in 2025 happening. There has been research done in a smaller scale, and we also published that on our website. And I think this will also rise, and increase. I think the best research is when you try it yourself and you're your own research project in a way.
That's so true. And I see this even with patients. I've had patients coming and saying, oh, I don't really believe this is going to help me. And then it did. And the acupuncture or whatever treatment we did, worked for them, even though placebo, like they were not in. They were like, no way, it's not going to help me. And it changed their mind. And they started, like you do, kind of telling everybody about it. You got to try. This is amazing. This is amazing. So I think with you going back to the beginning of this conversation, when you were introduced to Qigong, you had no idea that now, years and years later, you are helping because you're partnering with a lot of the great people that have the knowledge from China and try to spread it all over the world, which is interesting because sometimes we feel we are in our own world. I'm in Canada. I know what's happening around me. Some people are, let's say, in the US or in the UK or in Australia, in New Zealand, in Argentina, in Europe, anywhere. Everybody has their own knowledge of what's going on. We don't have all the knowledge, but we don't know that in other countries, let's say in Argentina, there are people working in the hospital using Qigong. We don't know that because it's not spreading. These shows, like the podcast, reaches a certain amount of people that listen to it and now are more aware and can look into it a little bit more, which I think that's the whole point of having a show, is to spread the benefit of energy healing, natural health, complementary medicine, if we want to call them that way, because it gives an option that people are not knowledgeable about, and we can't know everything. It's not possible, right? So I really appreciate the work you've been doing, everything you're spreading. We will have all the links to check the programs you have, the retreats you offer, and everything that you have in the show note below. So you guys can check it out, because what Britta and Dr. Liu are doing and all the energy they put into it is really slowly, one little bit at a time, changing the world, because that's all we want to do to make the world better. Thank you for being on the show today. And any final thoughts you would like to leave my audience with before we part?
I think you have summed up our conversation so beautifully. It's really, really amazing, very inspiring to listen to you in this moment as well. I think the community aspect, because you mentioned that we can feel somehow a bit lonely, and especially if we maybe just start with this journey, or even when we are already in the midst of being into it, but really be open to find a community. Yes, listen to the podcast, like you just said, and find a practice group. There are so many offerings nowadays online. There's also the Zhineng Qi Gong Students Hub, which offers resources and practice material. Nowadays, there's actually a lot, where we can benefit from. So I think we are invited to make use of it. Maybe that's one last thought. The tools we are offered to really understand, we are capable of using them, we are invited to use them, and we can make a conscious choice to use them. Because obviously, very often maybe there are some limiting beliefs about, oh, is it really possible, or can I really do this on a daily basis? But these are some limitations we obviously are able to overcome. And maybe one last final thought is to be willing and open up to reflect on what is really important in one's life. There's always a chance for new beginning. So even if maybe in this present moment, we are facing a very big challenge, or when we look back, we regret things, or we are really not in an easy phase in our life, then my suggestion would be to open up your heart and mind to new beginnings, and reach out to somebody who can support you, go to Clara or any other TCM doctor, or find a Qigong group in your environment and try something new. Actually, that's also quite an interesting concept, that if you invite yourself to try something new each day or each week, then also this can be a path to, open up to new possibilities and new potential. And that's really something what we need. We need more people who are really opening up their heart and minds for new ways of living. Yeah.
Thank you. Open your
Thank you.
heart, open your mind to something new. You never know what's going to happen and what the journey this is going to take you on, just like Britta did. So thank you so much, Britta. And again, we'll have all the link to check out what you're doing in the show note. I really appreciate you taking the time to come in today.
Thank you very much, Clara. Thank you very much. I really enjoyed our conversation. Very inspiring. All the best.
Thank you so much for spending your time with me today. I truly hope you benefited from this episode, and I would love for you to share it with a friend that may benefit from it as well. Follow the show, leave a review, and if you want more, go to my website, acuproacademy.com. I have tons of resources there with treatment protocols, case studies, free courses, and so much more. And connect with me on all social media at AcuPro Academy. I'm on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, X, Pinterest, and LinkedIn and TikTok. And no matter what, keep rocking it using TCM. Please listen to the disclaimer, because the AcuPro Show podcast and material shared through AcuPro Academy, which is a subdivision of Natural Health Sense Incorporated, are designed solely for educational and entertainment purposes. The utilization of information from this podcast or any associated material is at the user's discretion and risk. This content is not meant to replace the guidance of an acupuncturist, Chinese medicine doctor, medical doctor, physician, or any qualified professional, nor is it a substitute for proper diagnosis or treatment. Users are strongly advised not to ignore or postpone seeking medical advice for any existing medical condition with their healthcare professional regarding any health concerns.